Okay, I guess we're ready to get started. Again, just feel free to type in any questions. We'll monitor that the best we can and try to answer those questions during the session. If for some reason we're unable to get to a question, we'll make sure that we email you the response. So we thank you for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. Hello, welcome to the 2016 Cash for College webinar. We are so glad you all could join us here to learn more about signing up for Cash for College. And if you haven't, this is a good opportunity to learn about the program, so hopefully you will sign up. The goal of the webinar is to provide an overview of the Cash for College initiative and to provide some basic points about FAFSA, but it is not a review of the FAFSA. So if you have any specific questions about the FAFSA, just know that there's going to be a FAFSA 101 webinar on February 2nd from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I'll have just a few more details about that later on in the PowerPoint. Let's see, the FAFSA 101 webinar, again, is going to be a really good thing that our Cash for College participants will be able to access. If you have any pressing FAFSA questions, you can give us a call. Jennifer's number and contact information is going to be on the last slide, and we will be sending these slides to you guys, so we'll be able to access all of that. So again, if you just have any FAFSA questions, please feel free to just hold those until the webinar, or you can, the FAFSA 101 webinar, or you can give us a call. Okay. Okay. So again, just introductions. I'm Elizabeth Parks. I'm the program manager at Alabama Possible. Jennifer introduced herself. She is on the right. And also with us is Caroline Harris. She is at the United Way of Central Alabama, and she is the community engagement specialist in the education department. And she's just going to talk a little bit about Cash for College's collaboration with the Bold Goals Coalition of Central Alabama. So throughout this process, like we talked about, or like Jennifer said, there's going to be a few poll questions just to get your feedback and just to give you a chance to kind of give some input. So the first one is, how did you hear about the webinar? I'm just going to give you guys a few seconds to put your answers in the chat box, and then I'll continue.
Okay, Bold Goals meeting, council workshop.
Okay. We have a few different folks on the line. There are some that are in the education department. Some are actually part of the Bold Goals Coalition. So yeah, we just have a great mix, and we're happy that you guys are here. So just to get started, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Plan 2020 and how it impacts Cash for College. So as some of you may know, Plan 2020 was created in 2012 to prepare all students for college, the workforce, and adulthood in the 21st century. So one of the key aspects of Plan 2020 is that every student possesses the knowledge and skills needed to enroll and succeed in credit-bearing first-year courses at a 2- or 4-year college, trade school, or technical school without the need for remediation. So this is something that has really helped mold and guide Cash for College. We completely stand behind this and agree with this Plan 2020, and so this is a really good program to help implement this aspect of Plan 2020. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about kind of the development of Cash for College. So again, Jennifer and I both work at Alabama Possible, and it is a statewide nonprofit organization that works to remove barriers to prosperity for Alabamians through advocacy, education, and collaboration. We primarily do college access work to promote college enrollment and attendance. One of our programs in the college access work is our Cash for College program. So Cash for College is an initiative to increase FAFSA completion rates in Alabama. So our access work has led to the development of invaluable partnerships with the Alabama State Board of Education, high schools, higher education institutions, as well as various community partners with similar goals. So one example of these partnerships was our 2013-2014 Opening Doors Grant. Alabama Possible partnered with the Alabama State Department of Education, local high schools, colleges and universities, and it had two main goals. And one was to increase FAFSA completion and enrollment in higher education. And again, that includes certificate, credential, and 2- and 4-year degree programs. And the second goal was to deliver relevant financial aid information to high school seniors, their parents, high school staff, and just other stakeholders in this education department. So again, our partnerships through our access work with the schools, as well as Opening Doors Grant, have really shaped Cash for College program. And just a little more background, Cash for College was formerly known as College Goals Sunday, which is still a national effort to increase FAFSA completion. That as of last year, Alabama Possible really kind of took over the statewide work and has now become the statewide coordinators of FAFSA completion efforts in Alabama. So just to help in that rebranding, kind of changing process, we really used our partnership with our media partner, alabama.com or al.com, and they really helped us develop the Cash for College name, as well as the logo, which you can see at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to turn this over to Caroline. Again, she's from the United Way of Central Alabama. She's just going to explain what Bold Goals is and how it partners with Cash for College.
Excellent. Thanks, Elizabeth, and good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on this webinar to learn more about the great opportunity for our students in Central Alabama through the Cash for College program. Just a brief background on the Bold Goals Coalition of Central Alabama. This process started about 2 years ago when our community leaders were looking around and saw that a lot of resources were going into the community. However, the needle wasn't moving. The problems either stayed the same or they increased. And so what Bold Goals Coalition, it is a way to really move the needle in the broad areas of education, financial stability, and health. Our region includes Blount, Jefferson, Shelby, St. Clair, and Walker counties. And the way that the work is being implemented is that a group of community leaders and anyone who has a stake within that impact area comes together, and we work on big projects that align the best resources and the talents within our various organizations and individuals, government agencies, and any other interested partner. And one prime example is the Cash for College program. And this is a pilot project for the Post-Secondary Retention and Completion Action Network that has the focus of getting all of our students into a post-secondary experience to where they're able to get a degree or an accreditation to go on to be prosperous citizens within our Central Alabama area. And so this was a natural partnership in that we are able to assist and support Alabama Possible within this effort. And it's not just the United Way, it's also all the other members within the Post-Secondary Action Network, including community colleges, school systems, and foundations. And we're all able to pull our best resources and our connections in order to make this possible. So thanks again so much for joining us, and I hope that you find this webinar very helpful as you progress in the Cash for College campaign. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Caroline. Okay, so, again, all of this was just to give you kind of idea about how Cash for College came to be. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about what about what Cash for College is. So again, Cash for College is an initiative developed in collaboration with educators and Bold Goal Coalition members to boost FAFSA completion rates in Alabama high schools. Of course, the FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Students should never have to pay to complete the FAFSA, hence the words free. This is always what we stress to our students and our parents when we're sharing FAFSA information with them. Students should always go to FAFSA.gov and never go to FAFSA.com because they will be charged on .com websites regarding FAFSA completion efforts. So again, always .gov for free FAFSA information and applications. So again, Cash for College really serves as a follow-up to College Application Week, which is in November. And that effort is really to serve to increase college applications in our high schools with our students. So this again is just a follow-up to that. So they've completed their applications, now it's time to help them complete their FAFSA so they can get financial aid. So I'm just going to briefly show you guys what we're going to be talking about. So these are things that resources and information that Cash for College Alabama high schools are going to have access to by participating in our program. So again, we will be able to provide professional development workshops. There will be research that we can share with you about FAFSA, best practices and community expertise. Guidance counselor toolkits will be provided. There will be connection to college and university partners that we can share with any high schools that don't have those connections already. We have connections to media resources that we will share with you guys. There's also FAFSA completion data to measure weekly progress towards each school's completion goal. And we'll also provide technical assistance upon request. So just to get started, again, just to go over some of the goals. So we really encourage that each school set their own completion goal. We feel it's important for the schools to do this to drive their completion outcomes. And it's a really good way for the schools to see growth between 2015 FAFSA completion rates to this year's FAFSA completion rates. So that's why we really want to encourage each school that participates in Cash for College to set their own percentages of completion for the FAFSA this 2016. So just some Cash for College goals are that in 2016, our state goal is to have 10,000 seniors participate in Cash for College. And in Central Alabama, our goal this year is for 3,500 seniors to participate. Other regions that have used a similar approach to Cash for College have seen a 10% rate in growth. So this is, again, schools that have had access to all these resources that Cash for College is going to be able to provide to those that are enrolled in the program. They have shown to really help increase completion rates in other schools that have used this kind of help. So our next poll question is, what is your level of comfort explaining FAFSA to students and parents on a scale of 1 to 10? Again, 1 being least comfortable and 10 being most comfortable. So I'm going to give you guys a second to kind of write some of your responses in the chat box. Okay, thank you everyone for your feedback so far. So again, it looks like we have between 5 and 8 is kind of the level of comfort. So that's pretty good. That shows there's a pretty significant level of comfort with explaining FAFSA. And what we do want to tell you, just to add on to that, is participating in Cash for College is really for any school counselor, any school staff that is on the spectrum of comfort with the FAFSA. So if you feel like you have little resources and you may not be really aware of FAFSA and how to share this information, that's perfect. Cash for College is a great resource for you. But if you're also on the end where you feel like you have a pretty fair understanding or moderate amount of understanding, we are also a really great resource for you as well. It's, FAFSA is ever changing, ever growing, and so it's important to have resources like Cash for College that can share the most up-to-date information and provide any assistance, and just give you a bunch of different resources to share with students and parents. So thank you all for that feedback. So, I'm telling you guys all about Cash for College, so I want to spend a little time just talking about why the FAFSA is actually important, why this work is so relevant. And so, one key indicator of a college-going culture is the free application for federal student aid completion. So students who fill out the application, of course, are just simply more likely to attend college, so it's an important indicator. The FAFSA is required for any student seeking federal and state financial aid, and this includes grants, loans, work-study opportunities, and even scholarships. Now it is to the point that every student needs to complete the FAFSA even in order to receive scholarships alone. So high school education institutions or higher education institutions are really looking to see that students have completed their FAFSA, and it can prevent a student from receiving scholarships if they don't. So it's extremely important that all students really complete this. So again, 9 out of 10 students who complete a FAFSA attend college the following fall. That's huge. That's definitely something we're all looking to have happen. So again, with the FAFSA, low-income students typically qualify for Pell Grants. So in 2016, students will be eligible to receive up to $5,845. So Congress decides and usually increases the Pell Grant each year, and it tries to keep up with the inflation and the increasing cost of college. So last year it was $5,775 that students can receive up to, and so now it's increased again to $5,845. So the FAFSA is an extremely long sometimes and complicated document. It can be more complicated than a typical tax return. So that's why our Cash for College initiative is really so important, because we really want to help these students get to college, complete their FAFSA, and just get as much financial aid as they can. So I'm just going to go over some basic information. So again, if you have any questions about FAFSA, there will be that webinar, and Jennifer's information will be at the last slide, so she'll be able to direct you to the appropriate channels to answer any questions you have. So the FAFSA determines eligibility for need-based aid, including grants, loans, work study, and scholarships. So financial aid dollars are limited and are usually awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. So again, just the spring 2016 FAFSA season requires 2015 tax information. So this current FAFSA season will require 2015 tax information, but 2014 tax information can be used to initially estimate. But this must be updated with 2015 tax information before the priority deadlines of the colleges and universities. So that's just an important thing to kind of know, just some general information about that. Again, so the next point is that 3 weeks after the 2015 tax information is actually filed, this tax information will auto-populate through something called an IRS data retrieval tool. So parents and students 2015 tax information, again, it will automatically show up in the correlating portions of the FAFSA form 3 weeks after taxes have officially been filed. So this is why it's important for parents and students to file their 2015 taxes as soon as possible. This makes the process of completing the FAFSA as easy and accurate as it can possibly be. And that's so important to the process, of course. So again, the priority financial aid deadlines vary by colleges and universities. For FAFSA submission, It's vital that students know where they want to go and check those schools' priority deadlines so that way they're aware of them and they'll be able to be eligible for the most amount of financial aid they can possibly receive, because it's first come, first serve. So they want to make sure they get their application in before that school's priority deadline. March 1st is the most common deadline that you'll see, so that's one that gets thrown out a lot. There's a big push. So because March 1st is the major priority deadline, there's a big push for FAFSA completion workshops in February. That's why February is also known as FAFSA February. So students need to submit the FAFSA every year in college. This is something that does need to be stressed to students. It's something they can kind of easily overlook, we've come to find. So this is just an important piece of information when you're talking to parents and students to help them just be clear on that every single year the student receives the FAFSA, they need to fill out the FAFSA. So the last part is the FAFSA verification process. So just in a nutshell what this is, if you see it and you're unclear, it's basically where some colleges are going to need additional FAFSA information, more than what they originally received on the FAFSA that was submitted to them initially by the student. So the school or the student will be contacted if they need to provide additional information. So it's going to be about 1/3 of applications that are selected for this process. And again, this process
muted.
cut down on their constantly entering their sensitive information. So just to know though, the PIN and FSA ID they still both serve the same purpose, and that purpose is really to confirm their identity when accessing and electronically signing a FAFSA document. And again, the student has to have their own FSA ID, as does their guardian, parent or guardian. Also, you guys may have heard there's something called prior year. So again, just to stress, this has not started yet. We're still functioning under the same FAFSA things that we always have. Prior year isn't going to come out and debut until October 2016. So basically what prior year will do, it will allow students to file their tax, or they'll be able to file the FAFSA earlier than January 1st, which right now January 1st is the date that everything starts. So again, October 2016 students are going to be able to file their FAFSAs earlier, and this will be helpful because what it's going to do is give them a better opportunity to see how much financial aid they're going to receive before they start making their college selection choices. And so if they can see that they're going to receive the most information or their most financial aid from one institution versus the other, then they're going to have the best chance to really pick the institution that can provide them the most financial aid. So that is a change. Also, the maximum Pell Grant has changed to $5,845, which I discussed earlier. So these are some documents that are going to be helpful in parents and students completing the FAFSA. What we will be doing is we will have this information, and that we're going to put in several different resources that will be available through the Toolkit. We're going to provide all Cash for College participating schools. I'll talk about the Toolkit a little bit later in the slide, but this will be available, and it will have all this information on it so that parents and students can see what they're going to need to help them fill out the FAFSA. Again, I'm not going to go over it, but this will be available in the Toolkit. So again, one thing we will be able to help provide are relevant FAFSA resources. So I'm just going to make you aware of a few already. So there are free tax prep services to parents and to students at United Way and Impact America. So this is extremely important. So that is something we wanted to tell you about. Again, FAFSA.gov is the most important website, I would say, when it comes to FAFSA. This is where they're going to go for everything. This is going to have a lot of good information. On top of this is where they're going to create their FSA IDs. This is where they're going to complete the actual FAFSA document, is on FAFSA.gov. Studentaid.ed.gov is a really great resource as well. Again, we're going to have the FAFSA 101 webinar. It's going to be, like I said, on February 2nd from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we're going to have more information available to you on our website in a few days. So just make sure you check that out. And again, we are cashforcollegealabama.org. All of that will be on this PowerPoint to access. And of course, you can contact Jennifer if you have questions or can't seem to find where to go to get connected. It's tentative, but we are going to try to go to the Guidance Counselor Conference on January 28th just to answer questions, share information. And again, something that participants will also be able to access by signing up for Cash for College are weekly conference calls and office hours to counselors, and it will be hosted by Alabama Possible. And again, teachers, I know teachers, counselors, anybody that's on here that's in the education area specifically, I know that you guys have a busy day and you have so much on your plate. So this is something that's optional. You don't have to participate. It will just be available for everyone to call in and just talk about things that are working, things that aren't, and just a way to really share information. So again, just to stress, that is totally optional. This is all to make things easier for counselors, for school staff, and so that way we can really increase these completions for our students. Okay, so I've included a timeline through each month of some important FAFSA deadlines and some important Cash for College deadlines. I'm not going to go over everything just for brevity's sake and just for letting you guys just browse this on your own when we send you the PowerPoint. So you will see that there is a slide for each month and it goes over some important information. I will just briefly touch on June. In June, I just wanted to say that, and I don't know if you want to go ahead and mark your calendars, but on June 16th, Alabama Possible plans to have a Cash for College celebration in Montgomery for schools to come, for school staff and those specifically participating in Cash for College to come and share their accomplishments, and we can talk about best practices and what worked and really put our heads together. We want to provide you guys lunch, and we just want to give you a big thank you for signing up and for participating. And it's really just meant to be a good, fun day at the end of all of this hard work that everybody has put in. So just letting you be aware of that, and we, of course, will let you know about that as it gets closer to time. So I'm also just going to touch on the actual application to sign up for Cash for College. So again, the application is available on cashforcollegealabama.org. The application deadline is going to be January 29th to sign up. Again, just to stress, this application is available for all high schools in the state of Alabama. You don't have to be in certain counties, in certain regions. If you're in Alabama and you're interested in this, you can sign up for it. Also, another thing to stress is participating in this does not require any financial contribution from the schools. We want to provide this as a service to you guys. We know educators just have so much on their plate again, and this is to make your job easier to help the students. And we want to do that free of cost to you. So I'm just going to go over, I have a screenshot of the actual application up here on a couple of slides that will follow as well. And I'm just going to touch on some of the main things just to clarify. So when people have signed this or if they're looking at signing up, I just wanted to clarify. So it's asked to identify a site coordinator. So this is the person who will be most responsible for implementing Cash for College at the school. So again, that's most often the counselors, but it doesn't have to be, but it is most often. Okay. Also, it's asked to identify a champion, and that is a school leader who's going to help drive these results. So that can be anyone from a principal, an assistant principal, just anyone that's really devoted to seeing the FAFSA percentages increase with the seniors at their school. Also, right below that, there is a box, and it says, please list any other faculty, staff, or volunteers that will help assist in FAFSA completion work at your school. So again, that means any teachers, any senior sponsors, any college partners you might have that come and they help with FAFSA workshops in your schools. So it's, again, that's just to let us know where your resource level is. On the next following pages, it really just asks for information for us to collect so we can help just clearly represent your school and the progress it's made, and we'll include this information on our data dashboard, which I'm going to go over in a little bit more detail in the following slides, or they're upcoming. So as you see here, we asked the schools to identify their 2016 FAFSA completion percentage goal. So that's extremely important. So the last thing I want to touch on when it comes to this application is the host site expectations. So again, this is just, if you sign up for Cash for College and complete this application, this is what you're agreeing to do. So again, you're agreeing to set a goal for FAFSA completion, which again, you've already done by completing this application. So kudos to you. I already got that out of the way. So the second thing is collaborating to drive continuous improvement. So all that means is just that you're willing to share information with us, you're willing to let us share information with others about what's working, what's not working, so we can really increase FAFSA completion. And then the last point is just you will allow us to celebrate your progress towards completing your goal of FAFSA completion and really share best practices. So again, it's just the expectations of each school. This is to really share information with us and let us share information with you. This is not something to add more work to your plate. This is something to help and ease your efforts in working with students and parents to complete the FAFSA. Okay, so a poll question that we have is, have you hosted any financial aid workshops at your school? So if you just, I'll give you guys a second. Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback. So what we have heard, or what we received, is that a lot of the participants on here have actually had some events at their school, some every year, and that is wonderful. And so, again, this is really an opportunity for us to talk with you about what's worked in the past, what hasn't worked, just to collaborate. So I'm glad to see that you guys have, and I look forward to hearing more about the successes you've had with that. Okay. So another thing that Cash for College participants will have is professional development and technical assistance from Alabama Possible staff. So again, we're going to provide webinars. We're going to be at the counseling conference. There will be weekly conference calls and office hours from February to May. And again, these are optional. There's going to be weekly updates about FAFSA completion rates on our dashboard. Again, I'm going to talk about that in a second. We're going to send out monthly newsletters. And then in June, we're going to send out a big report that's going to have all the information about how everyone did throughout this whole season. And we can connect any schools that don't have connections to colleges and universities. We can help provide those connections. If you do, then that is great. So yeah, those are just some of the technical assistance pieces just to touch on, just to give you an idea. We will also be sending out a guidance counselor toolkit. So that's going to include sample press releases, posters, postcards, and flyers. Now all of these things are going to have information, important FAFSA information that's really concise, that looks really clear, and you can share it with your students and your parents or post it in your school to increase awareness. We're going to be sending a PDF of all of these documents that I just mentioned above in January, and that way you guys can print them out and use them however you need, or as many, as little, whatever your need is at your school. This will be a really good resource. Again, we work with AL.com, and we have a lot of really great connections to have printed information as well as web information about the success of the schools, and this is really a chance where we can let you guys shine and just y'all can brag on what you're doing and how well you're doing. And we just also have our social media that you can access. You can refer students and parents to it as well, and it just has little blips, brief information that's important about FAFSA information, scholarship information, just anything. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about our data dashboard. So again, what this is, and I have a screenshot of it on the next slide, and you guys will be able to see it a little bit more clearly. But what it is it's really a picture that's going to represent, or not a picture, it's going to be a database where you can go and you can see each week your school's progress towards completing your goal. It's going to be, again, it's going to be updated weekly and it's going to be housed on our Cash for College website. So you'll just go to our website and you'll be able to see all of this completion information. So this dashboard is going to be really quick, and it's going to be really easy for you guys to access and to look at the completion percentages. So the way it kind of works is we're going to receive weekly data that the U.S. Department of Education is going to release, and we're going to sift through it, and we're going to basically put all that information on the dashboard and make it easy for you guys to find, to look at, and this is really important in knowing your weekly completion rates and actually helping complete your FAFSA efforts, because of course the more you can stay on top of how you are doing week by week, it can drive, okay, we really need to figure out, you know, what we're going to do. Clearly this week it was kind of low, it didn't increase very much, so what did we do that we need to switch up? It's a really good tool just to actually see how you're doing each week. So this is very important, this data dashboard, and again, it just serves to make your job easier. So this is what it will look like. So as you can see on the top left-hand corner, it's going to have a breakdown by week of the completion percentages. So part of the reason we ask in the application for your data, especially your 2015 data, is so we can go ahead and put it in your dashboard, and it will reflect 2016. It's our dashboard won't go live till the 1st of February, so that's why you don't see 2016 on here yet, but it will be. So you'll be able to compare week by week 2015 to 2016, and depending on some of our schools, if they have their 2014 data, we can include that as well. And then on the upper right-hand corner, you will see that you're going to have a graph that can show you the rate, and again, that will have 2016 on it as well. And then at the bottom, you'll be able to pull up your school's information, and you can compare it to other schools in your area or other schools that you just have heard have really great things going on, or they're trying something different than you are, and you might want to see how their rates work that week. Again, this information is something that shouldn't be secret. We don't want to keep it secret. We want to let everyone know about it because that helps increase completion, and that's what we want. So again, this is just a screenshot, but this will be a live breathing document, and it will be housed on our Cash for College website. And those schools that participate in Cash for College will be able to see their schools on here for sure. So the last thing I want to kind of go over before we come to an end is the grant awards that will be available to those who participate in Cash for College. So there's going to be an $1,000 grant awarded to Cash for College enrolled high schools with the highest FAFSA completion percentage from the time frame of January 1st to March 1st. The other one is going to be a $500 grant awarded to Cash for College enrolled high schools with the most improved FAFSA completion percentage, and this is going to be from the time frame of January 1st through May 13th. So again, these are going to be cash grants awarded to the schools for you to determine how it is spent. We don't have any specifications on how it's spent at your school. Again, just to clarify, these grants are available to all Cash for College participants. You don't have to be in the bold goals counties. You don't have to be in Birmingham. It's just if you're signed up for Cash for College, then you are eligible to receive these grants. So I guess lastly is we have if you have any questions, we would love for you to provide those to us.
So you can type the questions in the chat box, and we will try to answer those. If we aren't able to answer them via this webinar, then we will send you an email with the answer to your question after the webinar. And so the last poll question is just if you can just rate the webinar for us, if you can just put that in a chat box from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, obviously, in how useful this webinar was in terms of the information you were able to gather. So we see that you are responding. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you.
So several people are asking about their specific high schools. So what I will do, we do have a chart where we can go through and find, obviously, who has signed up via our website. So I will follow up with a direct email to you to let you know if your school has signed up. So you can look for that later today. If you have any more questions, that's my email, the cashforcollege@alabamapossible.org. It's kind of a mouthful, but if you can just kind of note that, feel free to email me, and I will respond to your questions. We'll also be sending out emails to you all with the office hours and other technical assistance opportunities after this webinar as well. And you'll start to see regular contact from us in February. Okay, anything else?
Okay, no, I think I'm good. Thank you all so much for coming in on this webinar and for just participating, and for those who signed up for Cash for College, thank you